Us. We are recording this session, so as well as taking notes on any questions in the Q&A and the chat. So I just want to let you know we'll be recording this session. My name is Carolyn Cifuentes, and I'm the Executive Director of College and Career Readiness here at Riverside County Office of Education. I get to work a lot with our middle school and our high school educators and leaders, and not too much with our elementary. A lot of the work we do is college and career and FAFSA applications and college applications. So I'm really excited to be here today because I get to meet so many of our leaders in the elementary schools and to discuss this work on financial literacy that we're really starting to push and take off with at the county. So just some virtual meeting tips. We are recording the session. So Jamina, I'll make sure you have that recording, and I'll go ahead and make sure you will start that. And then if there's any effort for a Zoom bomber or something happens, the meeting ends, Wi-Fi goes out, we'll go ahead and stop and log off, log back in using the same link. Thankfully, we haven't had any problems, but just in case. So excited that you're here joining us. I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Financial Literacy Initiative. Our County Superintendent, Dr. Edwin Gomez, is really wanting to push and discuss and provide opportunities to our 23 school districts to look at this as an opportunity to engage not only our students, but our families on planning for the future. All of you here today have done a little bit of different conversations or had different conversations around financial literacy. Maybe you had a lesson on entrepreneurship or how to save money for your fourth graders. Everyone's been doing things around financial literacy, but really looking towards a focus as a county and looking for our office on how to help provide you resources and curriculum and presentations to start these conversations early. We focused a lot on college affordability and planning at the county with FAFSA completion and scholarship applications. We've done a lot of the college affordability piece, but we're really looking to launch and do a few more creative things with our students and families around budgeting and savings. And there's so many students this year that we were helping with college applications. And one of the biggest barriers was just paying for the application. And I helped, oh God, I don't know how many students I helped this fall with college apps. Not one of our students had a savings account, right? And most of our parents are barely making ends meet. The thought of having a savings account for college, not a possibility right now. So we're looking for creative ways to work with community members and start having those conversations. So today is really about sharing resources of an awesome platform, Everfi, and really looking and see how maybe some of these ideas, learn what they offer for our elementary school students and how to provide grade level appropriate information on financial literacy to our elementary students. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica Golden. She's the Senior Director for K-12 programs at Everfi. And thank you so much again for being here with us, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks, Catalina, for the introduction. It's so good to be with you all today. I am joined by my colleague, Andy. So to give you some background on my role and how Andy and I work, I'll go ahead and quickly jump to that slide. So my role is really working and collaborating with our school districts to think about partnership, alignment, working on getting that scope and sequence, thinking about how our programs can fit into the curriculum that you already have developed. So doing that curriculum alignment for you, working with our district partners. And then Andy is really collaborating with our teachers. So any of our educators on the line, she is here to help support with training, answer your questions. You can even join your classes virtually to introduce these topics to your students and help them get on the virtual platform. So really anything that you all might need in relation to Everfi, we are here to help with. This is something to take off your plate, not to add on to it, and to make sure everything is really easy to navigate. So in our time today, we'll provide a quick introduction and overview of who Everfi is. We'll dive into what the financial literacy resources are, why it's important to provide financial literacy to our students. We'll even highlight a current Everfi teacher insight and then actually get you into the account so you can explore these programs and think about how they might fit for your students this year if you want to do a pilot, or even think about what that programming might look like next year as you really have a chance to dive in and explore the resource. So again, I will share our contact information at the end, but feel free to email, call us, whatever you might need if you are interested in having a conversation, thinking about what these programs look like to you. But first, it's important to address, what is Everfi? Everfi is an education technology company that's really focused on providing digital curriculum to support the whole child. Thinking about our digital resources, we also have extension activities. And the best part is all these programs are available at no cost to our schools or districts. And the way that we're able to do this is through national and local funding. So we are finding different partners that come in and say, hey, this is really important for me and I want to bring this to my community. And they fully fund the digital programs. This allows us to keep them updated. It allows us to work and collaborate with you all and provide professional development at no cost. So we've reached really over 3.1 million K-12 students over the last 10 years and work with 850 financial institution partners. These are our partners that are funding the programs so that you can have access to these scholarships and more, all at no cost. In California alone last year, we worked with almost 1,300 schools, participated in one or more Everfi programs with almost 125,000 students. We still have a lot of opportunity and room to grow, but our role is really working on how we can think about placement of these programs with your standards, thinking about the needs of our students and how we can support you all as educators in bringing the programs to your classes. So the big question oftentimes is thinking about how our partnership and this sponsorship model works. So there's 4 different components that come into play. First is our digital resources. These are all web-based, designed for your students to be able to work through asynchronously in small groups in the classroom. Implementation is really flexible, but that curriculum is provided at no cost and you have unlimited student license. So as many teachers and students at each school that want to access these programs will have access at no cost. We also have our implementation team. So that's Andy, who is manning our chat today. So if you have questions, Andy will be there to answer them. She is a local in the area and is able to, she understands the area. She's working with schools and districts for the last, goodness, Andy, is it 3 years, 4 years?
4 years now.
Yeah, 4 years. I was like, I know we're coming up on maybe even 5 this summer. So Andy is really there. She could provide that professional development, training, ongoing support, any tech issues, anything that you need that comes up, Andy is really there for you to support. And then the cool part too is these last 2 components. So in addition to providing the digital curriculum, our partners can come in and do virtual classroom visits. We know how important it is to bring our community into our schools. So right now we are hosting different virtual visits with local bank partners. So Hemet Bank will join in a classroom. They can talk about their career, why financial literacy is important. They can play a fun game with students. So finding interesting ways to incorporate that financial education and bringing different community leaders in. But we also provide scholarship opportunities. So I know Catalina has shared in some of the previous presentations how important these scholarship dollars are and how many are left on the table. So later in the presentation, we'll talk about a few scholarships that are available right now, but we offer each year more than $100,000 in 529 student scholarship plans. And then for our districts, we also provide an annual impact report. These annual impact reports highlight knowledge gains, the reach of programs, and even attitudinal changes in our students from before and after completing the financial literacy programs. So these are really helpful in driving how are these making a difference to our Riverside County students? How are our students, what are their knowledge gains look like? How are their attitudes changing? And really giving you data to drive decisions about how these programs best fit in your schools and districts. All right, this is a massive menu of programming. So today, as you know, we'll really be honing in on our elementary and upper elementary programs of financial education. So that is where we will spend the majority of our time. But in addition to these financial literacy resources, we also offer a plethora of other programs thinking about that whole child. So you'll see that we have STEM and career readiness, social emotional learning, health wellness, early academic readiness. So for those of you that are elementary teachers, We have these programs as well, and diversity, equity, inclusion. We are always listening to our community and hearing what is it that our teachers need most? What are the topics? What is new legislation, new standards that are coming down? And we use this to drive our decisions on what new curriculum we developed. So as you are going through this, if there's something you're like, hey, that's something I'm really interested in, and you're a teacher, send Andy a note. If you're a district, send me a note, and we're always happy to bubble that up to our product team. So specifically for elementary, these are the different programs that are available to you. As mentioned, we are really focusing in on that vault program today, but do know that whenever you get access to your account, you'll be able to view and check out these other resources too. I'm going to do a quick pause there and just make sure. Andy, do we have any questions that have come in yet?
No questions yet, but if you guys have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask them, or if you feel more comfortable just typing them straight into the chat box, I can answer them there.
Yeah, and it looks like we don't have too big of a group, so definitely feel free to come off mute. We can make this conversation style. We want to make sure we're supporting the needs that you have. Thanks, Andy. So a big question is, why financial literacy? And so EverFi got our start, and the whole name of EverFi is Ever Financial Literacy. So our company came about in 2008, and if any of you recall, there was quite a crash in our economy. So we really wanted to focus in on how do we create more of that preventative approach to educate our high school students to make sure that they're making smart financial decisions for their future. That's where EverFi came about. Our CEOs drove around in an RV from school to school introducing these programs because they were passionate about bringing financial literacy. Since then, as you saw in the previous few slides, we've really expanded our reach beyond that high school financial literacy. We have a whole suite of high school programs, but now also leaning into our elementary and middle school students as well. And the reason that we've expanded this is because of the stats that you see on the screen here. I don't need to read them out to you, but we understand the importance of each of these. So 4 in 10 US consumers reported that they had trouble paying at least one bill or expense in the past year. And then also more than 1 billion jobs, almost 1/3 of all the jobs worldwide, transferred by technology in the next decade. So it's important that our students are learning to prepare for this. They're thinking smart about their money. So we really think at EverFi of 3 big components, and really where our EverFi resources lean into is that financial literacy and really setting our students up for financial capability. So financial literacy is simply understanding the ability of how money works. They understand what's the process, how do these go through? So our programs really lean into that financial literacy, but want to ultimately get our students to financial capability, but providing them with the confidence and skills and knowledge and habits that they need to be able to develop financial well-being. So ultimately, our goal is to get them to financial capability. And then as they're going through life, leading to that financial well-being. It's ability and willingness to make financial decisions that increase their financial security and freedom now and in the future. So our focus is really, as they're going through the financial literacy program, getting that knowledge gains, but then also setting them up. Throughout the courses, you'll notice that it's not, hey, let's just watch a video and learn more, but putting our students in real world scenarios that they would encounter, helping them to think about, okay, if I were in this situation and I had these choices, how might I make that selection? And based on that selection, what might the outcomes be? So really helping students think about that financial capability so they have those knowledge and habits when they are put in those situations in the real world. Today, we are going to really dive into the first 2 programs that you see on the screen, being Vault and Future Smart. In addition to this, that we really think of financial education at every stage of our elementary through high school experience. And then in high school, we know the complexity of this, right? So we are thinking about the basic financial knowledge, but then we also need to think about investing. What does this look like? How does the market work? How does a company go from a company to an IPO? And then also money moves in modern banking. So Zelle has sponsored this nationally. So helping students to think about identity protection, fraud, but also online banking and person-to-person payments. And then of course, diving into the pathways financing higher education. So giving students information and knowledge on the return on investment for their education. So let's dive right into Vault. So this program is really designed for students in 4th through 6th grade. We have seen it used sometimes second semester of 3rd grade, but certainly want to make sure that we're addressing, the different reading levels of our students and making sure that this content is as accessible as possible. This program is 5 lessons, just 15 minutes each. With all EverFi programs, I really like to think of them as buffet style. So though there's 5 lessons, 15 minutes each, you can pick and choose which lessons are most aligned to what your students need. So if I'm going through this and I'm looking at these course topics, I might identify that budgeting and spending and income and careers are the 2 lessons that are most important, 15 minutes each for a total of 30 minutes to complete. These programs are also all available in French and Spanish. And as they're going through them, it's not just being able to read the text, but it's going through and reading it for them. So no matter what reading level our students are on, making it accessible to them. So what's really fun about Vault is they are playing a board game. They're going in these different scenarios. And one of them, like such as income and careers, they are helping superheroes find new job placement. So these superheroes are hitting, past their prime of being able to save people. And so they have to evaluate the different interests of these superheroes and help them think about what different jobs and careers they might want. There's also different games where they're thinking about budgeting. So the genie no longer has unlimited wishes. And so they have to help the genie think about opportunity costs and what things, wants versus needs. So all of this puts in a gamified fashion, but tying it back to these real world concepts. So let me quickly play our demo video.
Elementary students are developing an awareness around money now that will inform the financial decisions they will make in the future. Yet, many of today's young students don't have the knowledge that they need to ensure that the habits they are building are healthy and responsible. Vault, Understanding Money, is a digital financial education resource for grades 4 through 6 that addresses both financial concepts and the social emotional learning skills that build toward better financial health. Students will follow a group of friends who are transported into different dimensions, each new world containing a character who needs help managing their money. By leveraging storytelling and game-based learning, Vault immerses students in real-life financial scenarios that focus on skill building and responsible decision-making. This gamified course features an engaging storyline, diverse cast of characters, and activities to teach students about fundamental financial topics like budgeting, career planning, and borrowing, all in a fun and engaging way. Visit everfi.com/K-12 to learn more and get started with this free resource today.
Promise I won't make you all watch that again. So as mentioned before, in addition to having the digital program where your students are going through for each of those different topics, students complete a pre and post assessment. That pre-assessment is 5 questions. The post-assessment includes 10, and these are automatically graded for you as teachers. So really taking that lift right off your plate. In your teacher dashboard, you're able to see the pre and post-assessment scores color-coded in a report. So your students in that 10-question post-assessment, 70% or higher will show up in green, 60% or lower will show up in red. So you're able to take a quick peek at that and identify how my students are performing. They have the opportunity to go back and retake those lessons, but we also include extension activities. So for each of the different objectives and lessons that your students have, there are extension lesson plans, there's discussion guides, anything that you might need to expand on that to ensure mastery of those objectives is available and already developed for you. So making this as simple as possible and taking off that work off your plate. As mentioned in the pre and post assessments, we also provide those impact reports. And in those impact reports, you will be able to have access to data like this that is aggregate across the school district. So here we're able to see that students that took Vault last year started at a 57% for the savings and investing module and finished at an 83%. Students making plans with money, identifying their needs versus wants, the role of banks, smart decision making with money started at a 61% and jumped all the way to an 84%. So seeing really significant knowledge gains within these different topic areas. In addition, I know we might have some upper elementary students or, excuse me, teachers and educators in here. This is our Future Smart program. So in partnership with the Mass Mutual Foundation, this program is available to districts and schools nationwide at no cost. This includes 7 lessons, 20 to 25 minutes each. And in this, our students become mayor of their town, and they have to help their constituents make smart financial decisions. So as they are going through this, they are helping a young man. He wants to redecorate his room. So he's going to do some smart shopping. He's thinking about, okay, what is in my budget? How do I look at unit price? What is my opportunity cost? And then helping him to even think about, okay, if I miss the bus, how is that going to incorporate into my budget? So really helping students think about those needs versus wants, and all in a gamified fashion. So as students are going through this, they're actually getting a rating from their constituents on how well they are making smart money choices. So within this, as they complete the 7 lessons, ultimately the students complete a blueprint. At the end, they can print this blueprint, identify what kind of saver they are, what are some of their financial goals, and really help them to reflect on what they want for their futures. In addition to this, and as you can see here, we completed a recent study with our Mass Mutual Foundation. So with the University of Massachusetts Donohue Institute, we completed a study over a full year where we looked at students that didn't take the course and students that did take the course. And through this, we noticed that there were 4 things that came out of it. Student knowledge gains were significant, student confidence and self-efficacy, communication with family on financial topics, and engagement with the financial system. In all of these, we saw significant increases, highlighting that this program does work. So we completed this longitudinal study to be able to see exactly how the program was impacting students through the future as well. So let's take a look.
By the time students reach middle school, they have already developed the capacity to understand complex economic concepts, make financial judgments, and assign value to purchases and brands. Yet, the majority of today's students don't have the money management skills they need to navigate the modern financial world. The Mass Mutual Foundation has partnered with EverFi to develop the Future Smart digital course, which offers critical financial literacy for middle school students across the United States, absolutely free of charge. Future Smart empowers students to effectively manage their finances, make sound decisions, and become financially responsible. After taking an initial financial personality quiz, students are elected mayor of their very own town, charged with helping the townspeople navigate personal financial challenges. Through a story-based narrative and interactive activities, students learn to make real-life decisions about their own personal finances, as well as how to achieve important goals around topics like saving money, education and career planning, and budgeting. Visit everfi.com/K-12 to learn more and get started with this free resource today.
So with that too, it was really important for Andy and I. Andy has been working with Riverside County teachers for the last 4 years, her entire time here at EverFi. And so it was important, we wanted to bring some different feedback from our different teachers. So Austin at Acacia Middle School shared 3 of these different quotes with us. One of them from a student sharing that they liked the lessons were self-paced, they could do it on their own. So really important, especially in the last year that you all have had, teaching asynchronously. This is something your students can do independently, then you can bring them back together to have that whole group discussion on what they've learned. She also shared that I liked that the lessons were engaging and students were able to access the lessons during their independent learning. And then students were also able to do the lessons that help them prepare for life outside the classroom. So we receive all kinds of feedback similar to what Shia shared with us today, thinking about how these programs are impacting our students, how they're having conversations at home. I once went into a meeting with a teacher and she had just had parent-teacher conferences. And in that, one of the moms asked her, hey, what have you been teaching my daughter? And she's like, well, tell me more. What do you mean? And she's like, well, we went to Target and normally she's asking for all kinds of things. And suddenly she's like asking, oh, is that in our budget? How is this, identifying her wants versus needs? So students really being able to mirror this outside of their classroom experience. Before we jump into any other courses, Are there any general questions about our EverFi or the financial literacy resources Vault and Future Smart? Definitely feel free to come off mute. Andy, let me know if I missed anything major.
We just had one question about first grade specific lessons. And so I mentioned some of our courses that do align well with first grade, and just wanted to note that, while we don't have a financial literacy specific course for our first graders, it's something that the other courses sort of prepare them in terms of critical life skills and help scaffold them up until they are able to use Vault. In an ideal world, we'd have a specific financial literacy course for every single grade. But for now, I do encourage you, once we do sign in, to just look through all the courses that are appropriate for first graders and see if those can support the standards that you have in your classroom. And feel free to add on to that, Jess, if I missed anything.
Yeah, that's completely spot on. And if you are a first grade teacher and you want to go ahead and register for Vault today, one of the things too that you can always take is we have a vocabulary list. We always find that can be really helpful to send home to families as well, and maybe pulling out some of those terms that you want to start introducing students to early.
Jessica, if you can share a little bit about our educators are really big on the data piece, on being able to know which students completed it. How would they know? I know we have a district director on right now. Can you go a little bit about what that looks like? Or maybe you had it towards the end. I just want to make sure they understand that it gets done and they'll never know if their students completed it unless they tell them what kind of partnership that looks like with the data sharing.
Yeah, we're going to jump to what that slide looks like here soon for the teacher side. So on the teacher side, whenever you will create an account, and all of your students will have accounts, and you'll create these classes. So within each class, you'll be able to see each of your students that are within it. So for some of you, your districts might be Clever integrated, so you'll be able to have that single sign-on option. If not, I'll walk everyone today through the registration process. But in your dashboard, that's where you're going to be able to see exactly what students completed. They'll be able to see exactly what lessons. And if you really want to look into it, there's even timestamps, so you can see exactly when students completed each of those lessons. And it's all color coded, and I like to say auto-magically graded. So nothing that you have to do as a teacher in regard to that grading component, and you can export it all in a CSV file. On the district side, we do have a district administrator account, so you can see which schools are using, which teachers are using, and with how many students. And then of course, we provide those impact reports. We have a spring we have a first semester impact report, and then we have the full school year impact report that we provide in the summer of that aggregate data highlighting how many students, schools, and teachers implemented the program with those overall knowledge gains.
Perfect, thank you. And I wanted to say, most everyone knows in our county, we're really big in our county office about not necessarily putting, vendors or platforms. All of this is free. So I know we said in the description, no one's going to sell you anything. We're not charging you anything. That we're really big on the resources we're providing you are all free of charge for your students, your families, your districts. So I'm sure Jessica was going to get to that, but I wanted to make sure because I think people are thinking, well, what does this cost that they're data sharing too? So thank you.
Yeah, I addressed it up front, but I know we had a few people come in a little bit later. So all of our programs do the sponsorship model at no cost. And that means always. So let's pretend, I mentioned Mass Mutual Foundation sponsors our Future Smart program. If for any reason Mass Mutual Foundation next year said, actually, we don't have the funds or whatever that might be, EverFi will continue to cover that cost for your school and district. So this goes without, if we don't have a sponsor or a partner for your school, you will still have the equal access to these different digital programs. So that includes training, ongoing support, the data, anything that you might need to feel really confident in implementing these with Fidelity. It's all at no cost, including the support Andy and I provide.
Okay, we did get one more question, Jessica. We have some school counselors on that might want to also include this or take leadership on this, and they are on part of, because they work for the school district, on part of that data sharing as well.
Yeah, of course. So, and Andy does a lot of work with different counselors. I know sometimes if you guys are going into classrooms and working directly with teachers, small groups, all of that. So whenever I say teacher, it's educator. So we're looking at all of our users are included in that data.
Okay, and then I'd like to, can you take one more question? I know before you go forward, I'd love to get their questions answered right away. All right, so Ashley's asking us, she understands this is something that would be done independently. can be done independently, but from your experience, is it recommended students work on this during the school day or after school? Where's been the best model you've seen in the nation, because you work with different states? And I'm also curious if there's any opportunity to do any piece of this as a whole group, like as a school-wide. In October, they have these big college kickoff events, the entire school participates. So where have you seen some successful models? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so every school and district is really unique. What we find best and the most successful implementations is where you find exactly where you want to place this program. So if we're talking about vault understanding money, maybe it's the entire fifth grade team is committing to using this in a specific unit. So they are using it in September. They're blocking, 3 class periods to go through these digital programs. So typically that's where we find the most success, where it's really generating a unique plan for that school and campus and those teachers, and finding exactly where they want to place the programs. We've also seen maybe the 4th grade is going to use lessons 1 and 2, 5th grade is using lessons 4 and 5. Absolutely. And that's part of where Andy and I are here to help support with that exact placement. But we do find that whether it's in school or really collecting that as an assignment after school also works successfully as well. But it really depends on your student demographics, their access to technology. And so oftentimes in the communities that I'm working in, it's best if they're able, carve out class time to be able to complete these kinds of assignments. Whole group. So to the point of being able to get the data and these different scenarios that students are going through. So we want to provide students the experience where they can select the answers and see what the outcomes might be. So we really do recommend the best use case is students working through them on their own device, going through each lesson themselves. But we can certainly, when thinking about these college days and these other cool opportunities, that's a great chance for us to be able to bring in our different community sponsors, and they can speak about these programs, introduce these topics, do a Q&A with students. So that's something that we're definitely happy to partner on. And then on the flip side, students can complete that as pre-work, or maybe that's a launch for them to go in and do the program. But we can definitely bring partners to you to help make it as engaging and fun for our students.
Thank
And
you.
I'll add something really quick right here. I'm actually a former 6th grade and 2nd grade teacher myself. And so Jess said this earlier on in this meeting, but she said this is, everything we offer at EverFi is meant to take something off of your plate, not add to it. We trust that you know your students best, because that's how I felt when I was an educator. And so the reason we have those grade level recommendations is because we want to tell you what reading level the courses are based on. But again, we know you know your students best. So please think of these resources as supplemental and meant to help take work off your plate. If you are in need of an after school activity so that you can see how students are understanding a specific standard, then you may use it that way. If you need something in school, during the school day, it's also helpful that way. And then because we've seen so many schools utilizing asynchronous activities, meaning whole group, in a unique way, we have those offline lesson plans if needed. So for every course that you add, you're also going to have access to those offline lesson plans, which can work in that favor for you. So hopefully that gives a little bit of clarity there, but yeah, keep the questions coming. I'm enjoying answering them for you all.
And back to Andy's point about 1st grade programming, I did want to just bubble this one up really quick. We do have, as mentioned, a few different programs. So Vault, in addition to hitting financial literacy, does touch on social emotional learning. And so the Compassion Project is that early elementary, and it builds up those skills for our students for that scaffolding to get up to that 4th grade Vault program. So this one is back to that whole group. This one is 15 lessons. 3 of them are designed for independent work, but the other 12 lessons are designed for whole group instruction. So this is a unique resource in that aspect, and the only one that really is designed that way, and it's because it's working with that lower elementary group, but you will have access to this program as well. So we do have our 1st grade teacher on there. This could definitely be something that you did, during morning meeting, SEL time, whatever that might look like, being able to bring the students together for whole group. And then just want to briefly touch on, because I know many of us might be squeezing in financial literacy into our math. So we do have a Future Goals Hockey Scholar resource that teaches math concepts through the game of hockey. So did want to share this with you because I know some of you might be doing double duty as you're teaching math and social studies and financial literacy, knowing that you also will have access to this program as well. All right, moving forward, let's get to the fun stuff. So educator benefits, Andy shared some of this already, but we do have the data. So we have the real-time reporting, student knowledge gains, and knowledge and growth. We also have the in-dashboard lesson plans, discussion guides, and curriculum guides. So anything you need to feel confident in implementing this is already developed for you. There's discussion plans. You can find a course outline. Let's say you don't have time to go through the entire digital course. You can use that course outline to see exactly what objective, how are they presenting it to students, to get a really good idea of what content is going through the lessons. And then extension lesson plans. So as mentioned, if you're noticing, hey, my students are really struggling with this specific concept, you can pull that extension lesson plan for that more whole group discussion and learning. And then as mentioned, right now we have almost 30 different resources. So once you are in the EverFi dashboard, you will have access to all of these other programs at no cost as well. So any of these growing library of digital curriculum, but also are always creating toolkits. So April's Financial Literacy Month, we have an entire Financial Literacy Month toolkit and website that all of our educators get access to. This includes a PowerPoint to introduce the topics to your students, share scholarship information, which I'm about to get to, and a ton of other tools that we are always sharing as we want to be your thought partner on these important topics. And then finally, scholarships and student events. So we are going to share some different student scholarship opportunities, but we're always thinking about how can we make sure we're setting our students up for success and making smart financial decisions for their future. And then those partner class visits. We know how important it is to bring the community in. We're happy to collaborate and think through what different partners are in your school and district and think about how we might be able to collaborate to bring them in for discussion, Q&A, but maybe even some financial Jeopardy or a fun game with the students too. So this is a lot. Andy is going to chat some of these links into you. I know for this particular group, potentially just the last two are going to resonate most with your population of students, but we have 3 major scholarships going on right now for financial education. The first one is our California High School Student Scholarship Opportunity. We have 10 $1,000 529 scholarships. Students must complete our Pathways course, but once they complete that, they just submit a short essay to qualify. The deadline is May 7th. I listened to Catalina, I think it was on, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Thursday, and Ventrice even sharing how many scholarships go unfulfilled. So I'm here for transparency's sake. Right now, we only have 4 applicants across all of California. So if you have high school friends that are teachers, you have your own children that are in high school and you want them to have access to this scholarship, definitely take advantage of this. We also have our Future Smart Middle School Student Scholarship. This is 10 $1,000 529 scholarships. Students must just complete 3 lessons, which they're only about 15 minutes each, so only about a 45-minute time commitment, and then answer a short essay question. That one we have until May 31st, so we have about a little over a month to complete that. And then finally, we also have our All Students Spring Scholarship Contest. So this is available to all students, elementary included. With all of these, they all receive a $529 gift card that they can then invest for their future education. And I believe, Andy, sorry, I don't have my chat open, Andy. I believe you are chatting in those links.
Yes, I included the middle school scholarship link and then the all grade level scholarship link.
Perfect. And I know we are sharing this presentation afterwards as well. So if you didn't catch those, definitely know that you will be able to get them in the presentation when it comes out afterwards. And then a few upcoming events. So this is for more of our high school population, but we have in partnership with Sally Mae, we are doing a Knowledge for College Family Night on Tuesday, May 11th and Wednesday, May 12th, talking about planning for college and also finding free money. So those are the registration links for that event. Okay, the fun stuff. Now it's time to get in. A lot of talking from me, but I think the most important part is for you all to be able to see these programs yourselves. So First step is if you all want to open a second browser, we recommend Google Chrome or Safari. Internet Explorer is not our friend if anyone is still using that one. And then go ahead and open everfi.com/new teacher. Before we do that, is anyone want to chat in if you have an Everfi account, if you're familiar with Everfi? If that is the case, you are going to go to everfi.com/login. Once you are here, you are going to select your state from the dropdown, so California, and then begin typing in your school slowly. As you are typing that in, you'll be able to find your school and select it. Once you've entered California and begin typing in your school name and identify your school, you'll hit next. And there's a short form to complete. So this is setting up your teacher account. As mentioned, there's no fees with this, there's no obligation. This will just give you the opportunity to go in and actually explore these digital resources we discussed today. So enter your first and last name, your school email address, and create a password. And then from select a course, I recommend selecting either Vault or FutureSmart. Yeah, Eddie, I just saw your question. Can parents log into everfi.com? So we do have a student access portal. Andy, I think you can chat that in. It should be in that link sheet.
Yes, I'm grabbing it right now. So I'll chat it in just a second here.
Yeah, perfect. So Eddie, for our parents, we do have a direct to student access. So for them, we wouldn't want them to create a teacher account, but they can go in and create a student account. So Andy's going to send you that link that'll give that directly to them. This is a great opportunity if you're thinking about summer enrichment, want students to be able to work through these programs independently on their own. Parents and guardians might be asking, hey, what are some things my students can be doing this summer? Certainly feel free to share that with them. Once you've selected and completed your profile, make sure you check that big I agree to terms of service. Otherwise, it's going to kick you back and you're going to have to refill out that form. Can you all give me using, raise your hand or give me the thumbs up to let me know that you are good with your account, or you can chat in all set. Awesome. Thank you. Yay. This gives me so much empathy and compassion for all of you that are have been teaching remote all year, trying to find those engagement opportunities. I've been practicing myself. Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Mrs. Perez. All right, so once you're in the dashboard, the first few things you'll want to do. The first one is go ahead and select this Add Course button. So you can either get here from Add Course or selecting Catalog. So you're going to hit Add Course or Catalog, and it's going to bring you to this screen. This screen is going to show you all the different Everfi resources available today. So let's say that you are a 6th grade teacher and you selected Vault when you registered, but you also want to check out FutureSmart. This is where you can scroll and find those resources under that financial literacy section. So you'll see it broken down. This says recently updated. There'll be financial education. You'll see social emotional learning. So you'll see these different subject areas. And once you find the resource that you want to add, you simply just hit the green Add button. If for some reason you see a request button, that's simply going to send Andy a note letting us know that you've requested to explore this resource. She will then give you access. If for some reason, let's say you are a 4th grade teacher and you request a high school program, she might send a note saying, hey, just wanted to confirm that this is the program you wanted, give you some of that consultation to make sure, in fact, hey, maybe you're using it with your child or you have an advanced student, making sure that we're getting you the right programs on your dashboard. Once you've added all the programs that you are interested in, go ahead and select Home on your dashboard. So anytime you want to get back to that home page, go ahead and select Home. And then the next step is to create your class. So you'll hit that green Create Class button next to the course that you're interested in creating. So again, let's pretend I'm a Sixth grade teacher, I want this student to get started on Future Smart. I'll hit create class next to Future Smart. And then I'm going to fill out a short form. Here, if I teach one class, I have self-contained students, I'm working with the same group all day, I just need to create one class. If I am working with different groups of students, I would recommend creating a class for each different period that you teach. You'll go ahead and put in your start date. This indicates to Andy so she knows when you might need support. So if you are thinking, yep, no chance I'm getting started this week, but I'm going to give it a try in May, you can just select May 2021, class size, grade level. Now, again, if I am wanting to teach multiple programs and I want to make sure my students have access to all of them, you're going to come down here where it says add courses. So if I want them to have access to Future Smart and Vault, I can go ahead and hit add courses. And then I'm going to multi-select which programs I would like that class to have access to. So I'll just check the box next to each of the programs. Yeah, Ashley, so I recommend breaking it down by teacher just for the simplicity of the gradebook to be able to see what students are completing it. We also want to make sure we don't get too many students in one class. So I would recommend breaking it down by teacher as a best practice. Once you've auto-checked those or clicked into those boxes, go ahead and hit add. And the next thing that you're going to see is this registration code. This is what students will use to self-register. You don't need to memorize it. You don't need to write it down. But this is what your students will use to get access to their accounts and be able to create their own EverFi accounts. So to get to that, you'll be able to select classes. So if we go to this lighter blue toolbar and we hit classes, this is where you're going to be able to see all the classes you created. And the registration code is available here. So you don't, as mentioned, you didn't need to memorize it. You can simply click that registration code right here and it'll populate that. So that is what you're going to want to share with students. We'll provide you with a student quick start guide with those step-by-step instructions. Students can be registered and ready to go in under 5 minutes. So it's a really simple process for our students. If you need to edit this for any reason, so maybe you want to add other courses to this, you want to change the name of it, whatever that might be, you have the ability to edit it there. And that's really, for the most part, what you would want to do with your classes. You can also create classes from this section as well. So anything that you can do in one place, you can probably do in another place on the teacher dashboard too. And then one of our favorite parts is the view course. So this view course is going to give you an experience similar to a student experience. So there's two big components to this that are going to be different. As you are going through this demo experience, you can move through the program much more quickly than our students can. So our students are required to listen to components before they can progress forward. They aren't able to just keep hitting next, 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 where you're going to have a little bit more flexibility with that. In addition, as students start a lesson and let's say it's lunchtime, it's time to go to lunch, it's going to save their progress and they're going to be able to pick up right where they left off. In your demo account, it's always going to set you back to the beginning simply because it's a demo and it's not saving progress. So those are some important things to think about. But the best part is if your students are in there, they have to stop for whatever reason, it's no problem. It's going to save their progress and they'll pick up right where they left off. And then finally, the resources. So as you heard Andy mention, those extension lesson plans, everything that you might need is all going to be here. I realize now we just updated our resources tabs. So yours is going to look a little bit different than this, but ultimately what is included remains the same. So you'll be able to see reflection questions, different lesson extension, course outlines, and curriculum guides are all available right here. So I recognize your screen might look a little bit different than what mine does in this moment. And then finally, the report. So as Catalina mentioned, we want to make sure that we're tracking our student progress and seeing how they are performing. So here is where you'll be able to Here is where you're going to be able to pick which course you want from the dropdown, so whichever report you would like to see. And then for each of the lessons, here is where you will see a score populate. It'll be color coded, so 70% higher in green, 60% lower in red, and you'll see a score for each lesson students complete. So it is out of 100 points, it was a 10-question assessment. When students complete the entire course, here it will say certified yes. This is when students can actually print a certificate recognizing that they have completed this program. So we have some districts that use these certificates to put in their portfolio, track for CTE, be able to really recognize their completion of these financial literacy programs. So do know that that is also available if that's something that you're really interested in tracking. Maybe you have your own initiatives within your school about, hey, we want to really jump on financial literacy. We want all of our 5th grade students to become certified in Vault. We can also help you pull and provide that data. And then finally, students, let's be real, we know that they are sometimes forgetting passwords. We really recommend to have some kind of cohesion between other programs that they're using within the district and the school. But if you do ever need to edit your student, change their password, or move them to a different class, you'll be able to do that here from your Students tab. You can also add students. I recommend having them self-register, but if you have one new student that's come into your class and you want to quickly create an account for them, you'll have the flexibility to do that too. And then support. So here is where you will find Andy's contact information. If you have gone through this entire presentation and you're like, whoa, that was a lot, I love it, but I really want to dive in more to learn more about how this can support my specific students, you'll find Andy's contact information listed here under Schools Manager. You'll also have our scholarship opportunities. And the best part is the invited teacher. So in the invited teacher, this is where you can invite your peers. So if you have others at your school that didn't come, other districts, anywhere in the United States, if you get started and then you invite a teacher and they get started on our programs, you will get a $15 Amazon gift card to thank you for just helping us spread the word. We really think it's important for our students to have access to financial literacy and among all these other resources. So we just want to say thank you for helping us. And then finally, the student registration process. You will go through everfi.com/register. That code that was created when you created your class is what students will put in here. And then students will complete the registration form. For the birth date, this is just an indicator for us to know if the students are over or under 13. We do not store birth dates, but it helps us with our for COPA compliance. So if a student puts in their birth date, do know we are not storing that in our system. It is just a flag if they are 13 or over. Then they'll complete their profile. So first name, last initial if they are under 13, and then a username and password. And then once they've completed that, they are in the platform and they'll have access only to the programs that you have added for that class code. If you need support setting up any of these classes, that's another way that Andy can certainly help. So she is here to help create those classes for you, think through registration, what that process to make it as smooth and easy as possible. And then some of our districts we know are Clever Integrated. If you know that your district is Clever Integrated, let us know and we can go through these next steps with you all. Pretty similar experience, except you'll be able to have your students single sign on. So let me jump through this. So this is what your student dashboard will look like. Again, students will only have access to the programs that you have assigned to them. So here they would just see Vault. They would be able to hit either start or continue to finish going through that program. That was a lot of whirlwind. So Andy is going to go ahead and share with you all this Google link. So it's a Google form for you all to fill out, giving us a little bit more information so we can customize the support that you might need and follow up. So if you don't mind filling that out, this just lets us know, hey, what more information would you like? What do you teach? And then being able to really customize how we support you moving forward. didn't give us a ton of time for questions, but I know we have about 5 more minutes, and we are more than happy to answer any of your burning questions.
Thank you, Jessica, for sure. I know we've been answering questions as we go in the chat. Do we have any questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself or put in the chat again. I know definitely they're gonna want time to just go on and look at the different resources. And I would say one question I have is, we knew we were just bringing these ideas to our county just to think about, not necessarily they're gonna do it next week or next month. Everyone's trying to close out the year positive. But as they start to think about planning for next year, what do you suggest their next steps would be?
Yeah, so when planning for next year, first I just recommend, I know your time is limited. I want to acknowledge, the school year that we've had. We're working to really finish the school year strong. But this summer, I recommend going into the dashboard and taking a look at these resources so you can know exactly what they look and feel like. If you want to think about creating an implementation plan, whether it's for your school or district, that's where you can definitely connect with Andy and I. So we are really working with a lot of our districts of taking your curriculum guides and finding where EverFi can align and support with that. So we're here to take that work off your plate. If you are just a school building and you're trying to figure out best placement, what month should we do this? We're happy to collaborate with you on that as well. But I recommend independently, the next step is I would go into that teacher dashboard, view the course, look at the course outline, and just get a feel for what different content and curriculum is available for your students.
So if I'm a counselor or one teacher on this, Zoom, or I watch it later on and I want to do it just for my class, would you be willing to work with just one of us, just one school site, or do you need the whole school site, the whole school district?
Nope, just one teacher is perfectly fine. So if you are, you want to take the lead on this and you're really interested in bringing this, it's important to you, you feel passionate about it, we are absolutely happy to work with individual teachers. So one-to-one, if you want a teacher training, you need a refresher because we went over this in late April when you're finishing the school year and now it's August and you're like, hey, I really want this. Give us a call. We're happy to walk you through your dashboard, make sure you have everything that you need. So we work one-to-one with teachers all the time. And so definitely reach out to us. We're happy to do that.
I always like to include at the end of these presentations that we're not just here for this presentation. I really am your support person moving forward. So this is just the start of it. If after this, you see our emails right here, and I'm going to be the person that you work with, as you start to access all of this. So hold on to that email. You'll also hear from me if you fill out that form and provide your email address. And then we'll do whatever works best for you. So if you're not going to be using until next spring, next fall, then, we'll set up something for us that makes the most sense for you. But I am here to help you in the way that makes the most sense for you.
Okay. I don't see any additional questions. I'm sure, like I said, they're going to want time to take a look at the platforms. Anything else? I mean, before we sign off, Jessica and Andy, I know, like I mentioned, in the beginning, we're more to come of these conversations. Definitely, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. What I loved is it's created, it's aligned to your standards. You can provide crosswalking tools so they can show the standards and alignment. And really, I love the data piece on how the data, you can get how many students completed. They could set goals and targets, class competitions, things like that. So just grateful for you to come share this and with them. So any final thoughts before we leave our awesome elementary school leaders?
Yeah, I was going to say, to your point with the certificates, we have a ton of teachers that'll print the certificates. They do a chart of where students are measuring, put them on the board. It's a fun way to recognize our students that maybe aren't always receiving those certificates, right? So giving a chance for our students to highlight different strengths and be able to have these conversations with their families. So mostly just thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to support you and your students. And we're also really excited to be engaging with more elementary. We think it's so important to get this foundational knowledge early so that they can start making smart financial decisions in their future. So thank you.
No, thank you, Jessica. And I think with majority of our students, and I know I saw some of our educators from Coachella Valley, they don't have parents that necessarily maybe do this for them. So I didn't have a parent that opened up a savings account or anything for me growing up, first in my family to go to college. And that's the majority of the students in our county. So our elementary school leaders, thank you for being here, and more to come on us being able to do that for them and have these conversations early, because they might not take place in their homes. Their parents are working and trying to make ends meet, but this is good information for them to have. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Andy.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks for
everyone.
having us.
Okay. All right.
Email
And
us, call us, any questions you have. We're really here to help you.
And I'm including the form one more time. Thank you all so much for
Okay.
coming.
Okay, and so what we'll do, everyone, we will send you up a follow-up email. You'll get one from Jimmy Nicole that says, here's the PowerPoint, here's the video recording. So if you like something you want to share with your principal, please do so. And we'll give you the follow-up information so then you can look further. So like I said, we know you got a lot going on. We just want to drop ideas. You guys, thank you for being here, because you're our innovators with everything going on. You're here, you're learning, and you're not giving up on expanding new things for our students in Riverside County. So thank you and have a great afternoon.